But I belong here with you. It hurts so much to say, but I had to keep her convinced that this was the right thing to do. No, you don't. You are limited here, only able to fly around the house. You have no friends or other ponies to relate to. I was only taking care of you until this time would come, but I never thought it would be this painful. It remained quiet for a few more minutes as we held each other tight. She didn't fight back or want to resist what was happening, which told me that she knew as well what must be done. I love you, Daddy, and I love you too, my little Dashie. We separated as she lowered herself to the ground. At this point, all the other ponies had tears flowing. Even the goddess herself. She had seemed quite smug about knowing what had happened, and time difference and such. But it was evident that the age difference was a shock. She most likely had experience to finding a 35-year-old Rainbow Dash, but instead finding my 20-year-old Dashie. Twilight, stepping closer to Rainbow Dash, sniffed once before her horn glowed. I knew that it was coming. It hurt so much, but I knew it was right. It was what had to happen for her friends, in a twisted way for me. But I could know she was actually going home, and would be around her friends and could fly wherever and whenever she wanted to. Without any limitation, she could enjoy her friends' company once more. Wait! I looked from the floor to Dashie as she backed away from Twilight. Before I go, I want to get something. Before any pony or myself could protest, she flew up to her room. She was quick and returned with a shoebox and her front hooves. I'm not sure if she would be allowed to take anything back with her, and half expected the princess to protest. But she remained quiet, allowing Dashie to quickly write down something on a piece of paper and set it on the coffee table. She looked back to me, still crying, but with a smile on her face. I knew she had realized this is how it must end. I knew that as well. The box, from my guessing, was probably her most cherished items that she kept for if she had to leave. Though it hurt me thinking about it, I hope she had a picture of us. Then again, I also hoped not, for if she had forced to remember me in the world away, and that hurt just as much as everything else. I'm so sorry, Rainbow Dash, Twilight started. I honestly wish there was another way to do this. I wish we had to do this, but can't, Rainbow started. Can't he come with me? The stutter in her voice told me that she was simply speaking her mind, but actually asking the question. Twilight shook her head, unable to keep eye contact with her friend as she cried before her. Rainbow Dash, Princess Celestia started. He cannot join you in our world, much like how you cannot stay in his. This was all never meant to happen, and the world around us was never made to house you. And yet, Princess Celestia looked at me, smiling, then began to look around the living room. All the photos of us, all her knickknacks and belongings strewn around the room. And yet, something beautiful happened here. Something I cannot explain in full. When I realized where when I realized where you ended up, I expected the worst. I figured you'd have to be ruined, tainted, or tr- uh, or transits from this world's cruelty. But now I see that this is quite the opposite. That here, this man that has raised you showed me that you were in good hooves, or hands, as it were. Dashie sniffed once. He began to calm down as Celestia's words sinked in. Celestia then returned to look at me, still smiling. I cannot speak for you, but from what I can see in front of me, the amount of love you both share and have shared together tells me that you have raised her as if she were your own. Even with the obvious differences, you still raised her unbiased as to her species, her origins. You raised her as your daughter, which only makes this entire ordeal so much worse. I absorbed her words, as well as the other ponies in the room. So I must say to you, dear sir, please do not hold my student accountable for this. It was never her nor any pony else's intention to cause this much hurt to either of you. If you must blame some pony, I would ask you blame me. I lost my place. Okay. I'm the one that helped bring them back here, and to take Rainbow Dash back to her home, away from here. I couldn't look at any of them, my heavy breathing breaking down into sobs. My mind was just going on her own. Thinking back to all the things Dashie and I did together, with a deep breath as I spoke. Just how could I blame some pony for sending Rainbow Dash here? I sniffled, then cleared my throat as I continued. I nearly choked up as I searched for the words to express myself. These have been the best 15 years of my life. So if anything, I feel quite the opposite. I wish to thank you, Twilight, and the rest of you. Thank you for what you did. Though not intentional, thank you for all that has come out of this. And finally, thank you for all my years, my life, and my love with Dashie. I tried to smile at Twilight between the sobs, but she looked at the edge of my tears herself, and could only look away before she cried herself. Celestia then stood from the rug she laid on, and walked over to me as I stood. There's no need for thanks, good sir. Instead, I wish to thank you for taking care of one of my little ponies. So that's why they call it that. She would have never made it without someone like yourself. Celestia closed her eyes, then leaned her horn towards me. I didn't move. I wasn't sure what was going on. As she touched her horn to my head, I felt a sudden warmth rush through my body. She drew her horn away, still smiling, and stepped back. Thank you. Then another pony spoke up. Thank you. And then another pony spoke up. Thank you, sir, Twilight added, finally able to speak through her tears. Thank you, Applejack said. Thank you, darling, for taking care of our Rainbow Dash. Rarity spoke. Thank you, Fluttershy quietly said. Thanks! Pinkie shouted as she sprung up to me and hugging me. Okay. I really wish I would have ended this earlier, but another video. Thank you very much.